Hey everyone, and welcome to our fourth week of environmental science. This week we'll be studying community ecology, and the content page has some learning objectives to help guide your reading of Chapter 4. It also lists some terms to know. Take a look at this list. If there are any terms you are not familiar with, I recommend you make flashcards and study those flashcards. The remaining tabs have some resources to help you get to know some of the topics. This guy's getting loaded up with pollen, and this is an example of an interspecific interaction where both organisms are benefited, or mutualism. The plant is going to benefit by getting its genes moved around, so it's going to be able to reproduce with other plants, and then hopefully the bee is getting some nectar as a reward. In addition to a video about these interspecific or ecological relationships, here's a study table. This is something that I recommend you print if possible, or just work on it in a digital form, but it's a way for you to organize your understanding of the different types of interspecific interactions. So hopefully this will come up for us. Yeah, so competition, right? Who is harmed, who is benefited? What are the evolutionary impacts of these types of this type of interaction? And what would be an example of competition? So all of the interspecific interactions are listed here, and this is something to, make your reading of the textbook a little more active so that you're doing something while you're reading. Here's some tools to help you get to know some of the material in your textbook on pages 73 through 77 about community structure. There's some information here about community change, otherwise known as succession. And then for the biomes, really pretty much there's just a study table here. And that is, again, something that you can fill this out while you're reading the content on pages 83 through 89. A lot of people really don't learn well from just reading something. So these study tables are here to give you something to do and then give you a great study tool when you're done. So our discussion this week is a small group discussion. And we're going to try to reinforce some of what you read in Chapter 4 about biomes. So there are 5 climatographs here that show the precipitation in red, these red bars. Read that on the scale that's over here to the right. And then the temperature in blue. Read that on the scale over here to the left. So you're being asked to look at the climate in these different locations and try to make a determination about the biome that would exist in that place. So in your initial post specifically, I want you to choose a climatograph, one that none of your other group members have selected. There should be 5 people in your group. There's 5 climatographs, so this should work out. Give us the name and location of your climatograph. Write a detailed description of the climate data that you have. So what's the temperature pattern? And I want this to be pretty detailed. Your description should include numbers that you read from the graph. That's going to show me that you know how to read these graphs, because you're going to see something like this on your first exam. So I want to know that you know how to read the graph. So write a description of the temperature and precipitation patterns, and that must include numbers that you read off of the graph. Then you're going to think about the climate, reflect on this location, and make an educated guess about the terrestrial biome that would exist in that place. Write a 3 to 4 sentence description of that biome. And there's, of course, you can use your textbook for all the information that you need about that biome. Okay, so this is a small group discussion. Please make your initial post by Wednesday and then respond to your peers by Saturday. In your replies to peers, try to make comparisons between the climate in 2 of these different locations. and explain how these differences in these two locations may be affecting the soils and organisms that live in those places. Okay, our lab this week is about keystone species and trophic cascades. The first thing I want you to do is to check out the Howard Hughes Medical Institution interactive about keystone species. So this is going to show you a map, and on the map there's going to be different photos of keystone species. I'm asking you to explore this map, select any 4 species, and click on it, read the text, answer the following questions for each of the 4 species you select. So we want to know the name, the habitat, and how it functions as a keystone species. So we're getting to know some keystone species. After you've answered the questions for 4 species, I want you to think a little bit more broadly about keystone species in general, and then answer the following questions. So I'm looking for this information for 4 species and then the answers to these questions. Next, I want you to watch this video called Some Animals Are More Equal Than Others, also by the Howard Hughes Medical Institution. As you watch the film, I think it's about 20 minutes, I want you to fill out this PDF worksheet. It's a fillable form, so you should be able, if you download it, there you go, be able to type your answers in. Okay, you will turn in the profiles of your 4 keystone species that you looked at from the map and those summary questions and your completed PDF worksheet. So turn those in here by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. I've created a week 4 practice quiz for you. This is meant to help you get ready for the graded quiz. The practice quiz is not graded. The graded quiz is worth 10 points. There's one other thing in the week 4 module, and that is a self-assessment. So this is a time to reflect about how you're doing in the class, what you're doing in the class, what's working for you in terms of the topics that you're understanding versus not understanding. This is just a little check-in. This is for you to think about things that if you're not happy with where you are, you could do to improve your performance, and it's good info for me as well. So this is going to be worth 3 points extra credit if you complete it. That is all. I hope that you have a great week, and please reach out if you have any questions.